Hey y'all, it's Angel, your best friend who happens to be a therapist. I still can't believe they talked me into doing a podcast, but here I am and here we go. I'm not gonna lie to you, we gonna talk about everything. Nothing's off limits, the good, bad, and the ugly. So put your seatbelt on and enjoy the ride. Hey y'all, life be lifin', and I'm not gonna lie to you, none of us are off limits. Life happens to all of us. At any time, some things are predictable, some things are unpredictable. You never know. It's like life kind of feels like a whirlwind sometimes. The more roles we take on in life, the more chaotic it can be, right? Being an employee or a business owner, being a mother or a father, an aunt or uncle, a cousin, a best friend, a spouse, a partner. All of these roles we fill on a daily basis, right? Like there's something required of us in all of those roles all the time. So now what? What do? We have all of these roles to fulfill and only 24 hours in a damn day. So what do? How do we deal with it? One of the things I learned to do, and I learned this lesson during COVID, was to slow down. That's like the first thing that we can do when we feel like our worlds are just chaotic. We just slow down. Step number 1, take a minute, take inventory. And when I say take inventory, that's your time to give thanks to God for all the things that He has blessed you with in the midst of the chaos. Take that inventory first. Then after you do that, take the inventory of the things that, I'm going to say it, that you have to set some boundaries around. Got to learn how to say no, because that is what a boundary is. And in the beginning, you will feel guilt. Sadness. You might be, FOMO, like your fear of missing out on something. You may feel frustrated and even angry. But let me tell you why you're saying no. You're saying no because you deserve self-care time. You deserve that time to rest and refill your cup, right? That's a common saying. You got to refill your cup or refill your gas tank. You can't run on empty forever. That's how people crash and burn. That's how you burn out. That's like a sure, direct, straight path to burnout. So if you don't want to do that, you gotta say no. It's one of those, necessary, hard conversations to have sometimes. Sometimes they're hard, sometimes they're not. I'll tell you this, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I can tell you that. Saying no gives you some wiggle room. It allows for margin. Margin is that extra space that you will need when life starts lifing. It allows you the flexibility to pivot in the event you need to pivot and you didn't know you needed to pivot. For example, when it comes to your time, right? So we only got 24 hours in a day. You need to sleep like 8 of them. You work for 8 of them. And then there's the other 8 that's filler, right? Is that filler time. Don't fill the 16 awake hours with 10 hours of shit to do. Don't do that to yourself. That's too much. Give yourself some time. That's where the no comes in, because you can't say yes to everything. You just can't. Or, like I said earlier, you're gonna burn the fuck out. So we're trying to keep from burning out. So be mindful of your time. Value the time that you have to do nothing. Value that time, because that time is your reset time. That's your refuel time, your refill time. However you like to say it, however you perceive it in your life, whether it's reset or refueling, You have to give yourself that time every day. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but you got to give yourself some downtime, some regrouping time. This also accounts for when it comes to money. You don't spend all your money, even on bills. I didn't learn that paying yourself was really that important until not even that long ago, maybe like 5 years ago. Up until then, I was like, no, you got to pay all your bills, pay them all on time and in full. And I'm not saying that I don't do that now, but you got to pay yourself first, because paying yourself gives you that wiggle room. Paying yourself is really your savings. And that gives you the wiggle room for life to life and some shit to go wrong, right? So if you get in the car and you got a flat tire, but you unused all your money to pay all your bills, and all you have is the spending money that you set aside for the week, and now that spending money is about to go toward that flat tire. Now you gotta go buy a whole new tire, which really you're supposed to buy two. You mean you're supposed to buy one because it's supposed to be even or whatever. But it allows you that wiggle room without that stress, where it's like, oh no, now what am I going to do? Or now I got to use this credit card, and I'm trying to get this credit card balance down, and here I go using it and getting it right back up. So allow yourself space to be flexible. Allow yourself the room to pivot when you need to. So that is what no does for you, because life is going life. So now you know why we have to say no, why it's important to create this margin, why it's important to create this wiggle room, so when lifes, we have a little more room to pivot and with less stress. Now, what do you do with that time or that space that you've created? You don't fill it back up, I'll tell you that much, right? Don't do that. Use that time to do self-care. Self-care can be anything. We'll have to talk about self-care in a whole nother podcast, but self-care is doing things that you want to do that don't take away from you, but that add to you, whether that's sleeping and just resting. So sleep and rest is different. Sleeping is sleeping. Resting is being able to sit and do nothing, whether that looks like watching TV, reading a book, meditating, praying. That's really what resting is. It's chilling. It's doing something that helps to relax you, not doing something that requires much from you. You're trying to refuel that energy, not spend that energy. So whatever that looks like for you, and it looks different for a lot of different people. I'm not gonna lie to you. Life be lifing, and it is totally out of our control. We don't know when, where, or who it's gonna happen. But the one thing that we can't control is creating the space in our life for life to life. That's a lot of lives in one phrase, but it works. So one life is lifing. You slow down. Take inventory of the things that you are grateful for. Take inventory of the things that you need and want to change that will help you create some space, that wiggle room for life to life. Those mistakes to happen, those mishaps, those unforeseen circumstances. Once you create that space, and you create that space in different realms, you create it within time, and you also create it with your money, because you're gonna need both. When you create those, when lives, it's not gonna be so bad. Not gonna say it ain't gonna hurt. Not gonna say it's not gonna be uncomfortable. Not gonna say that it ain't gonna piss you off or throw you off, but it makes it a little bit easier to manage when it happens. So just be prepared, and you do that by creating the space for it to happen. Thanks for listening to I'm Not Gonna Lie to You podcast. Subscribe for more insightful and down-to-earth content. And don't forget to follow us on social media at An Angel's Touch 8 on Instagram and An Angel's Touch Therapy on Facebook.